And welcome in to the Rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400 around the world on the iHeartRadio app. My name is Rob Sanders. Thanks for joining me today. We've got a jam-packed show for you. I really do. I had to go get my headset because I'm silly and I left it in my bag, as live radio is absolutely awesome. Anyway, here's what we got for the program today. I hold in my hands the lines for the weekend. Yes, we're going to give you our picks for the weekend against the spread. We do that every Friday here on the Rundown. I want to make you a part of the show. If you have your favorite pick for the week, a game that you look at and you're like, how is that happening? How is it that Las Vegas is this far off? By the way, you folks on Gamecock Twitter are good and angry about the fact that East Carolina is favored in some books to take home this win on Saturday. People are out there, yeah, we beat the snot out of Eastern Illinois. We beat the snot out of them. And you know what? People should recognize East Carolina doesn't give a damn. Their coach, Mike Houston, doesn't give a damn. Just making sure they put that out there. They would love to rub Shane Beamer's nose in it, and they would not shed one tear for this weekend. And this matchup for them is technically their Super Bowl. They will take home with sort of like how Eli Drinkowitz was when he was at App State, and he came in and said, "Hey, we have like a third of their budget as far as our football team goes. Imagine if I had their full budget and the things that I could do." This is before he got to Mizzou and basically has the same budget. Anyway, the whole thing with that, though, is that it comes down to this. This matchup is big for ECU on the front, that they're going to be playing an SEC team. And just the perception of, hey, we're playing a Power 5 team, we might knock some people out. Just saying. So that's a big matchup on that front. There's also some matchups that are ACC, SEC matchups this weekend. I'm not someone that rides conference coattails like the SEC apologists do, but I can guarantee you there will be a big set of people that if North Carolina State comes up short at Mississippi State, and if Pittsburgh comes up short against Tennessee, both are favored, by the way, on the road, people will be losing their minds talking about the SEC as royalty and you should kiss the cloak and everything else. Now, those people are ignorant, and you should ignore everything that they tell you. They can't help it. They've just been indoctrinated with, oh, the SEC's great. It's just the most ignorant thing ever. Look at the actual teams, okay? That's what you should be looking at, especially if you're going to place a wager. If you're just placing a wager saying, oh, that's an SEC team, yeah, I'm just going to put my money on them because they're an SEC team, then you're just very stupid. You just like to burn money. I'll give you my PayPal account. You can send that money to me, and I'll do something good with it. I will give it to a couple of fine charities that I work with. They'll be happy to take your money that you're just throwing into the crapper simply because you think an SEC team can just – there's no way that any team outside of the SEC could compete with any team that's in the SEC. Vanderbilt could have – someone put out on Twitter the other day that Vanderbilt would win 9 games in the ACC. I laughed like someone like tickled my feet with a feather. You're out of your mind. Anyway, we'll have our lines here for you later on as we've got that there. But we do have to talk about some conference stuff. The Big 12 is going to be the Big 14 here for a little bit. What I mean by that is that the Board of Regents vote has come in, and BYU, Cincinnati, Houston, and UCF are set to join the Big 12. Quite possibly, my favorite tweet of the day was, it didn't take Gus Malzahn long. Gus Malzahn goes to UCF, and all of a sudden he's back at a Power 5 conference. Takes him just that much time. I thought that was really good, by the way. Now, do you think this is going to make the Big 12 better? I don't know. If we're talking just on a football front, Houston had some years where they were good. UCF is one of the biggest as far as enrollment schools in the country. BYU does have a national title. There are certain schools that don't have that. So you can make an argument that could bring up the Big 12 a little bit. I tell you what, though, one of the interesting things is that what's the link? I think it's 2023, 2025. That's when Texas and Oklahoma can theoretically go to the SEC. If I'm the schedule maker for the conference, and I know that this sounds petty, but I am the king of petty. I admit that. I am petty, petty, petty. I would make sure that Texas and Oklahoma on their way out, they would have the absolute either toughest or worst schedule either way. They would have to travel the farthest. I would give absolutely no cares about anything that involves them, period. All you want to leave, then guess what? We're going to set it up where your football team will go to West Virginia one week, go to UCF the next week. Your bye week will be when we feel like it. Seriously. I bet there's some of those conversations that they're not going to have them. They're not going to have them out in front of everyone, but I guarantee you they're probably there. I would do everything I could to make their lives miserable on the way out. Maybe that's why I'm not a conference commissioner. But trust me, Bowlesby from the Big 12, he's big mad about this. He is not happy. And if he could have something to kind of pop some people with, he would do it. I think he would do it. He's already went and sat behind the president of Texas while he got grilled by the Texas state senators, knowing full well that Texas is going to do whatever the hell they want to do anyway. You could sit there and look silly behind them, but he sat there and he wanted them to know, hey, I'm here and I'm looking at you. Shame, shame, shame. He could care less. Here's the other thing, too, though. It all comes down to the TV money. Even with the additions, the Big 12 is going to generate less television revenue than it did previously. And that's just the way that it is. I mean, you're going to have more people that are going to want to see Texas and Oklahoma than they're going to want to see Houston, Cincinnati, and UCF and BYU. Just saying. It's interesting how all of this is going to shake out. But I don't think that when you really stop and look at it, though, I don't think this makes the Big 12 a more viable football conference. I don't. Now, if they can get more money, and maybe bring some of these other programs up where they can afford better facilities at Houston, UCF, etc., attract a better coach that says, you know what, I can coach at a Power 5 school now in Houston or UCF or wherever. Maybe that's something that would be interesting. That would help some of these up. But as of right now, I don't think that the world's going to beat the world down to people are going to beat the world down to go and watch Houston play I don't know, pick your Big 12 team here. It's just not going to matter as much. We'll take your calls on the Big 12 at 803-978-1832. 803-978-1832 is the number to dial. If you'd like to join us here on the Rundown this afternoon on Fox Sports Radio 1400. I got to take it to the people today because I want to know your pick this week. I want the people's lock on Friday. You can tell me. Some folks are in the chat room over here. They're giving me some stuff. But let's light up the phones as well. You look at the line and you're like, huh? Jerome online says he's got South Carolina winning over East Carolina 30-14. People are saying that the odds for that game have ECU as a 2.5-point favorite. He says he doesn't care. It's ECU. Hey, if you feel that passionate about it, call up and tell us. 803-978-1832. 803-978-1832. Also, college football playoff expansion. When is that going to happen? That's kind of the big thing, too. Some folks believe that the Pac-12, Big Ten, and ACC don't want the SEC to dominate the 12-team playoff field with the addition of Texas and Oklahoma. Let's make sure we put this out there right now. Texas and Oklahoma, I don't think they're going to win the SEC, depending on what division they're in. Now, if they put Texas and Oklahoma in the SEC easy, where they don't end up scheduling Alabama, LSU, the teams from the West that are actually viable, they have a very good shot to win the East. But as far as winning the SEC, you're basically if they're put into the East, which I don't know where they're going to go yet, we shall see. They may move Alabama to the East. I don't know. I'm not sure how that's going to work out. But if they end up with an SEC East schedule and they draw Arkansas and Mississippi State, anybody think that they won't have an easy shot getting to Atlanta? Reality doesn't hit until you actually get to the point where you have to play the Alabamas, the LSUs, and even the Texas A&Ms of the world. So, but I don't think they're winning the conference. Now, on the other hand, if you have 12 spots in the college football playoff, I think that you're going to have, there's a chance you're going to have more SEC teams that are right there. One of the things you're going to have that's without a doubt is Notre Dame is going to be in it. Don't believe me? Go look at the college football playoffs from the past, however many years it's been out there. Notre Dame's finished in the top 10 the majority of those years. Now, there are folks in the SEC that'll tell you Notre Dame doesn't belong. I'm not here to make an argument for or against the Irish. Here's what I can tell you is that they consistently finish in the top 10 in the college football playoff rankings. And if you're in the top 10 and that's how you get your spot, Notre Dame is going to be one of those teams that are there. So if you have 12 spots, in reality, you don't have 12 spots. You have 11. If you take out the Power 5 champions, if we keep it at that level, then in theory, you have 12 minus 6 basically is 6. So you have 6 spots. Just saying. That's some of the numbers that are out there that's just the way it's going to be. Now, Notre Dame needs to get off their butt and join a conference and stop with the nonsense. Okay? The idea of being an independent, this is silly. But it comes down to money. I think we all know that. Once the NBC contract goes away, or people are so upset having to watch the NFL on Peacock last night, mad. They don't want to watch the NFL game on Peacock. They're losing their mind last night on Twitter about that. You think people are going to pay to watch Notre Dame? I don't think so. Just saying. 803-978-1832. Someone online said, who was it? GMD Madness says the Alabama line is minus 64 to the Mercer Bears. Wow. Okay. I don't know about all that. By the way, Nick Saban gets upset about this stuff. And, you should take Mercer seriously. Well, Coach Saban, let me explain something to you, sir. You have the best team in college football generally year in and year out. You are the king of the mountain here. You can go to your athletic director with the current scheduling model and say, you know what? I'm tired of us playing this Mercer team. Schedule somebody else. Let's schedule a home and home. So the stuff with Nick Saban saying, we should take these teams seriously, that's fine. But the reality is, if you really want to do something about it, you probably could, sir. That's how you become great, man. Hang your stuff out there a little bit. You think people aren't going to respect Alabama if they say, you know what, we're not going to schedule Mercer anymore. After Miami, we're going to play, Oklahoma State. You can do that. You are Nick Saban. You can get away with whatever you want. You can also get away with telling people you should think that Mercer is going to compete with Alabama. It's not happening. 803-978-1832. If you want to talk about the college football playoff, I think that if you go to 12, you in theory have 6 spots that are going to be open. If you give 1 spot to each conference champion. So with that, And especially if you give one to your best group of 5, then you're down to 5 spots. We didn't think about that, did we? The group of 5 thing may kind of go away, though. I mean, a lot of your group of 5 teams, at least 2 of them here, BYU, UCF, and what? BYU, UCF, and Cincinnati. They're some of the best G5 teams anyway. Anyway, more of the rundown. We come back. We'll have picks for you in a moment. This is Fox Sports Radio 1400. Jerome, that is, you know what, Jerome? I'm going to highlight that. I think if the Gamecocks want to win 6 games this season, Zeb Noland should be your starter. Just saying. That should be your starter. Actually, I think it's good that that Daniels isn't playing for Georgia this weekend. See who they've got at quarterback. I think the average Georgia fan would be cool with that. What do we got behind Daniels? It's not like Daniels put up great numbers anyway. I mean, look, you don't shed any Doty doesn't bring you anything more than what Noland does, in my opinion. Who's calling? Wait a minute. Jerome, are you just lying to me? Are you trying to get me upset on the air today? Let's just slow down for a second here. Luke Doty couldn't carry Connor Shaw's jockstrap. Are you people are out of their mind, man. This is why I get frustrated with Gamecock fans. Oh, this guy's going to be the next Connor Shaw. You need to slow down and realize how great Connor Shaw was. He was the best quarterback to ever go into that university. I don't want to hear about Todd Ellis and all these other goofballs that played there, Anthony Wright and those guys. Get out of here with that nonsense. The best quarterback ever is Connor Shaw. And Steve Tannehill's right behind him. These guys are going to talk about, oh, this kid's the next Connor Shaw. He hasn't thrown a ball further than 12 yards in his entire career. Please direct those people here, Jerome. I will shred them for you. David with a good point here. They have to play JT after looking like hot garbage versus Clemson. They need to pad those stats to win a Heisman. He's not winning the Heisman. Tommy Suggs, Jimmy, come on. Be a realist, Jimmy. I expect better of you, sir. Wow. Well, welcome back to the Rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400 around the world on the iHeartRadio app. My name is Rob Sanders. Thanks for joining us today. If you would like to join us on the program, 803-978-1832. I was talking with Jerome, who was watching online, and he said people are comparing Luke Doty to Connor Shaw, which made me laugh like I was silly. You're out of your mind. I got nothing for you. I mean, I it's kind of hard to compare eras, but he wasn't that far off, man. Connor Shaw was, and I said this, I think he's the best quarterback to play at South Carolina. Now, my buddy Teddy Hefner, who's on in the morning from 9 to noon, he may tell me that that Tommy Suggs was great and Todd Ellis was great. I'm just talking about in my lifetime, as far as seeing players play at South Carolina, the best quarterback that I can remember is Connor Shaw. And I grew up watching Anthony Wright and all of those guys. They were not Connor Shaw. Carolina Jackpot Online says Connor Shaw had a lot more help. We'll put you on the Luke Doty should start list, sir. I think if the Gamecocks want to win 6 games this year, Zeb Noland's got to be the QB. It's nothing against Luke Doty. It's just that I'm going to go with the proven veteran because, once again, as what Jackpot said, he doesn't have the help around him. I think he can do the most with the least amount of help. I still haven't yet to see a pass from Luke Doty that made me stop for a second and say, you know what? This young man's a quarterback. Wow, the Gamecocks might have a quarterback. I did see that with Zeb Nolan with a couple of the passes that he threw. And I know. It's Eastern Illinois, Rob. AC Flora would probably beat them. Yeah, I get that. But the reality is that he can sling the rock, throw the ball, whatever it is you want to call it. He can do that. So that's the big thing. If you want to talk about that, 803-978-1832. Who do you think the Gamecocks should start this weekend? We'll take calls on that as well. 803-978-1832. 803-978-1832. That is the number to dial if you'd like to join us here on the Rundown. Also, one other note, Clemson picked up a commitment today. Nathaniel Joseph, a 4-star wide receiver, the number 27 wide receiver in the class of 2023, picked Clemson. He's from right out of Miami and gave a verbal commitment to Dabo Swinney and the Tigers on CBS Sports HQ this morning. Said he feels like it's just a good fit for him. Recruiting never stops. 803-978-1832. We also are taking your lock of the weekend. And I'll take that from the folks in the chat room too. If you had to bet $500 or whatever you think is big money for you, and you were going to put it on one game, which way would you go? Which line are you looking at? Coastal Carolina tonight, by the way, will play Kansas. They are favored by 27 points. Just saying. The Big 12, if they want to get better, they should kick Kansas out of it. The football team is terrible. The basketball team has nothing but issues. I mean, they don't really care about the athletics program there. They gave Bill Self a lifetime contract, even though they may get hit with sanctions that are out of this world. If you want to get better, Big 12, kick Kansas out. Anyway, you've also got UTEP playing Boise State tonight. Boise State's a 28-point favorite there. North Carolina A&T is playing Duke. The line started in that game at -12. Now it's up to 21. Yeah, Duke might be feisty after getting slapped around by Charlotte last week. We'll see how that works out. Chris says he would bet he likes Iowa State over Iowa. David, who is a National Guardsman, is down there trying to make sure that folks in Louisiana are taken care of. He's in the chat room today doing his thing. He says he'd bet an MRE on Arkansas. When you have your MRE, by the way, and folks that have eaten those, you know what I'm talking about. There are some good ones. There are some crummy ones too. But anyway, I will give you some of my picks now. We'll roll down the list here, and we'll start with Illinois playing Virginia, kind of a Big Ten ACC matchup. Virginia is a 13-point favorite in that matchup. Oof. Illinois, you would think they might get closer than that. I'd have to research that a little bit, but since I've got some time, I don't have time for that. I'm going to go with Illinois with the win here. Army is a 4-point favorite over Western Kentucky. Roll with Army. I like them a lot. Let's head out to the phones. 803-978-1832. And welcome to the Rundown. Good afternoon.
Hey, Rob, it's Jerome.
Jerome, what's up, buddy?
Hey, man, I was just thinking, this game Saturday, it's in Greenville, being on the road. Don't you think that it would just be kind of crazy if Shane Beamer and the Gamecocks and Marcus Satterfield just got away from the running game? I mean, you got 3 running backs. So how do you lose that game?
Well, I mean, let's put it in this perspective, and I'm not trying to rip the Gamecock football team here, but the weakness for the Gamecock football team is the linebackers in the secondary. I think we can agree upon that, and the wide receiver core as well. the East Carolina was a team that put up tons and tons of yards in their last 5 games of the season last year. Maybe you get bit a little bit through the air and you get behind and you have to abandon that running game. And then all of a sudden you're trying to throw the ball to a bunch of inexperienced wide receivers, and that ends up biting you in the butt. And then you lose 38-28, something like that. I mean, that's how you lose this game. I think that they've got a big round number up there that if they score 35 points, they're thinking that there's like a 90% chance they're going to win.
Yeah, let's hope that doesn't happen. And, whoever it has to be, if it's Harris coming out party, 2021 or the dependable White, whatever it has to be, if that, win this game. This is a must win.
Juju McDowell is a name that doesn't get talked about a good bit. I think he's going to be really good. I mean, I think that South Carolina has 4 legitimate running backs that could be, and I'm not, Kevin Harris is outstanding. We've talked about him, but as far as, hey, I'm going to go run with somebody, you could take all 4 of those guys: McDowell, White, Harris, and of course, goodness gracious, the other young man whose name slips my head brain here, but they've got 4 great running backs. And if I were
Amos,
yeah, and if I were them, I would try to line up and just go and impose my will. I don't know how that's going to work, but we shall see. Was that your pick for the weekend? Are you rolling with Gamecocks winning that game over East Carolina?
Yeah, I got the Gamecocks covering.
Well, they are 2.5-point underdogs, so you got them picking up a win. Then you're on the right track. Hey, Jerome, I appreciate you calling the show, buddy. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, Rob.
All right, man. Jerome likes the Gamecocks. First pick there. We'll keep track of some of the bets here that folks come up here with, the actual people's pick. Right now, it's just Jerome. You can make yours at 803-978-1832. 803-978-1832. That is the number to dial if you'd like to join us here on the Rundown this afternoon on Fox Sports Radio 1400. That's a good point, Ryan. Hold on, I'm looking at the line right now. Yeah, South Carolina is a 2-point favorite. I thought they were a 2-point underdog. They're a 2-point favorite. So you're all right about that, Ryan. Thank you for that. I don't know what happened to Clemson Tiger fan. At least show up if you lose. That's the best time to show up. Take your medicine. That's one thing I admire about old Carolina Jackpot. His ass shows up regardless, and his team normally sucks ass. He shows up regardless, and he's a Jets fan too. We don't really hear him talking much about the NFL, but I've seen him wear a Jets shirt. I didn't think those things existed outside of New York City. Upper Billy Paws laying the wood over there. Look, that's one of the things about Gamecock fans. I firmly believe the Georgia folks would not be watching this show this week if Georgia lost last week. They definitely wouldn't want to hear my mouth. They definitely wouldn't want to hear it. I'm sure he does. I mean, it's not like you can you have to order it. I don't think you could find I don't think you could find a Jet shirt anywhere unless you order it. Let's see here. SC State versus Mercer. Who wins? Jimmy says. I don't know. I would probably go with, I like Buddy Pugh, so I'll go with SC State. Just saying. Hey, you guys, check out this shirt. Hold on. Look at this. This is from FN America. Can you guys see that? Look at that. That's pretty cool, right? Little firearms t-shirt. FN Firearms, carry the future. They might be sponsoring the show. I'm working on that jackpot. You're not nice, jackpot. Hilarious. Oh, wow, that's pretty cool. I don't see Jesse J. Welcome back to the rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400 around the world on the iHeartRadio app. My name is Rob Sanders. Thanks for joining me today. Of course, we do have the people's pick today is just Jerome, as we're waiting your calls. I haven't gotten anybody to give me a pick online over there either, but we will take your picks online as well. He likes South Carolina to cover the spread. Actually, the Gamecocks are a 2-point favorite in their matchup tomorrow at East Carolina. By the way, if you are a fan of the Gamecocks, I work with our best Gamecock coverage, which is right across the hall. If you want to know anything about that game, tomorrow morning, find on the iHeartRadio app, WVOC, we have the absolute best Gamecock coverage. Everything you could possibly want to know about East Carolina and South Carolina. And we will have any breaking news, like who may be out for COVID, or who may be injured, or who may start. We'll have that early. That's what we do. The absolute best Gamecock coverage on our sister station, 103.5 FM WVOC. And I know there are some folks, like my buddy Carolina Jackpot, that's going to be going up to Greenville. God bless you folks going to Greenville, man. That's a hike. Just saying. Especially with the COVID-19 stuff. I don't really like leaving my house. But you folks going up there to Greenville, God bless you on that. But you can listen up there on the iHeartRadio app and know everything you want to know about that game. And then when you sit down up there in that nice stadium with all the purple from the Pirates up there, you'll know more about the game than they do. Our best Gamecock coverage on WVOC. Anyway, let's look at some of these other games here. I told you I like Army a lot. They're a 4-point favorite over Western Kentucky. Give me Army. Oregon and Ohio State. You know, this is one of those big matchups where it comes down to it started at 11.5, but the line's at 14.5 now. I don't think that Oregon can go into Ohio State and win. I think Ohio State has just too much talent. But I think that Mario Cristobal is going to put together a game plan that's going to keep that game close. I don't like the 14.5, so give me Oregon, and I'll take the 14.5 points. So it's not much of a knock on Ohio State. It's just that I don't think Mario Cristobal is going to go anywhere and get blown out. It's just my opinion. I don't think that's going to happen. Some other matchups that we're looking at that I kind of like. Here's one of the big ones. Pittsburgh is at Tennessee. Started out as a pick'em. Now Pittsburgh is a 3.5-point favorite. Let's step out of the box here for just a second. What makes you think that Tennessee can win this game other than the fact that they are at home? Just think about that for a second. What makes you think that Tennessee can win this game other than the fact that they're at home? When you look at Pitt, they're a team that plays pretty good defense. They're also a team that has a senior quarterback who's been there since the dawn of time. Jackpot Online says the Gamecocks are laying points. That's what I said. I said they're a 2.5-point favorite now. Calm down, buddy. Try to keep up. But when you stop and think about it, if you're just looking at it from a perspective of what teams have, what makes Tennessee better than Pitt? Tennessee's in the middle of a rebuild after their last coach left them with a McDonald's bag with nothing in it. Just saying. I'm going to roll with Pitt there to pick up the win and cover the 3.5. But I think it's going to be a sloppy game. And I think that Tennessee folks are going to be calling for Joe Milton to go away. They're going to be asking about where is Hendon Hooker and all these other guys. 803-978-1832. 803-978-1832. That is the number to call. And in the game of teams that are just terrible, Rutgers is playing Syracuse at Syracuse. What network is this going to be on? I'm just saying. That's insane. Jackpot's got me again there. -2 points. -2 points there for Rutgers. What a mess. Let's go out to the phones. 803-978-1832. And welcome to the Rundown. Good afternoon.
Hey, Rob. How are you doing? This is Billy Paul. How are you doing?
Good, man. What you got for the program today?
So I'm listening to all these Georgia fans still, even after this game, and I think they think they've beaten Godzilla or King Kong. I don't know which one they want to beat.
Right.
But at the same time, all the way up to this game, all they told us was Clemson's a C- program. Ain't that good? They play in the ACC. They're weak. And then they beat us, and they think God has come to earth again.
Well, they're trying to have their cake and eat it too.
Yeah,
I mean, that's basically what they're doing. I've said this, and it's irritated some people, but it's the biggest win of the Kirby Smart era. It's probably the biggest win in the past, 40 years for Georgia?
Yep.
In theory. It's not really that far-fetched. Now, and then, of course, they'll throw the playoff win over Oklahoma. They were favored in that matchup. So it's a huge win for them. So let them enjoy it. They won it on the field. I mean, their defense won it. Their offense didn't show up, but
they should thank us until we're not ranked, because in about another 4 weeks, we won't be ranked, and then they won't have any big wins to talk about. So they should thank us for this right now. That's all I'm trying to put out. But anyway, it's good to talk to you. Hey, when Raj calls you, and he will call you, I hope.
Sure.
If he does, seriously, put on the asbestos earmuffs, because it's going to be a blistering. He's going to lose his mind. Just so you know.
Well, do you have a pick for this weekend that you like, that you would bet?
Well, I actually pick personally. I think Pitt's going to beat Tennessee for sure.
All
okay,
right.
that to me is a given, and I think Arkansas will beat Texas.
Now that is a ballsy pick right there. We'll give you that.
Look, they're playing in Arkansas. That coach isn't a joke at Arkansas. They were looking ahead to this game last week. They've been planning on this for a while. Texas better be ready. So I'm just telling you. So giddy up. It's going to be fun.
All right, man. Hey, thanks for calling the show today. I appreciate it. 803-978-1832. 803-978-1832. Jerome says, I'll take Tennessee and the Big Mac sandwiches over Mighty Pitt. I've been telling you guys for the longest time, and I mean this, when Tennessee comes here next year, the listeners of this show, there should be some Gamecock listeners of this show that should dress up as the McDonald's gang. I've already offered to be Grimace, because I know you guys think I'm just a chunky fool. I will be Grimace. I don't have a problem with that. But we need a Ronald. We need the Fry Guy. We need the Hamburglar. We should all show up and buy seats that are right there next to the Tennessee locker room and just wave Big Macs at them. I'll try not to eat them. It'll be hard. More of the rundown in just a moment. You're listening to Fox Sports Radio 1400. I need a Ronald and a Hamburglar. We need a skinny guy to be the Hamburglar. I think Kale could be the Fry Guy. Kale could be the Fry Guy, man. I think so. Albert with a lake. Zach, that's an old school reference. I like it. I'm telling you, there has to be a set of Gamecock fans that'll want to do that. And I will dress up as Grimace, the big purple looking fool thing. I have no problem with that. Kale would make a good McNugget. Wow. That's harsh. I don't think that Clemson's in a world of trouble, to be honest with you. I think that Georgia was better that night. I'm not buying the Georgia offense, though. That Georgia defense is really good. Reminded me of like LSU a long time ago when they had those great defenses, but they didn't have quite enough offense to win anything. Hey, this just came down from The Athletic. Carson Beck is likely the starter versus UAB. Okay. I don't think it matters. You've been wearing some clown shoes. That'd be all right. That'd be good too. I think Clemson. I'm more buying the Georgia defense. I think the Georgia defense. That's the best Georgia defense I've ever seen. Ever. Tyson Fomachu is the Clemson backup. Welcome back to the Rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400 around the world on the iHeartRadio app. We have two locks from the folks from the listeners today. South Carolina and Pitt. Yeah, there you go. I'm feeling confident about Oregon covering the 14.5. I just think that game's going to be a little closer than that. But I'm buying the Pittsburgh, and I'll make that one of my picks on the weekend. I think that they will win that game, and I'm taking South Carolina, even though I've talked to a couple of former players, and they think that ECU is going to give the Gamecocks troubles. I don't know, man. We'll see. Some other matchups before we get out of here today. Let's see here as we roll. I'm not going to pick Rutgers and Syracuse because I don't want to insult your intelligence. That's how far off I think that game is going to be. Not buying that at all. Air Force and Navy. I can get into this because I like the service academies. I wish I was smart enough and made good enough grades that I could have went to a service academy. That would have been awesome. I would have probably went to the Naval Academy, although I wouldn't turn down the Air Force Academy up there in Colorado. I dated a girl in high school who went to the Air Force Academy. She took care of the Falcons. That was her job up there. She's taking care of the Falcons. Anyway. Some other games that we're looking at here. I'll go with Air Force and Navy. I will take the Falcons from Air Force to cover the 6 over Navy. So they're getting 6, or they're giving up 6 points. So give me Air Force there. And we're still taking your calls at 803-978-1832. By the way, Carson Beck it's been announced that he's likely going to be the starter tomorrow for Georgia and UAB. You know, there are several people that are saying not that Georgia's going to lose this game, but UAB may keep it close. 29 points is a lot of points. I will say this. I don't see very many people moving the ball on that Georgia defense. Now, I'm not saying that teams aren't going to go out there and rush a little bit. Trust me, next weekend when South Carolina plays them, when they get over 2 yards of offense on the ground, Gamecock fans are going to lose their mind. The game could be 72-0, but when they get to the third rushing yard, they will take to Twitter, and that will be the talk of Twitter for days. We rushed for more yards against Georgia than Clemson did. It's already going to happen. I can see it. It's almost like I'm Kreskin. Anyway, some other matchups. UAB and Georgia. I don't really want to pick that one because I don't really know how good Carson Beck is. I do buy the Georgia defense, though. I think they're going to be really good. Appalachian State and Miami. Can Miami not let Alabama beat them twice? You've heard that phrase, right? Where Alabama beat them senseless last week, made them look like they were not really worth a damn. Can they get through that with Appalachian State coming to town? A team that beat ECU. Good old Chase Bryce. Clemson fans remember him. I think I'm going to roll with Miami to cover the 8.5 there. It's up to 9 in some spots. So give me Miami to take the win there. NC State and North Carolina State. This is a game that is a big deal for Dave Doeren, who's trying to maneuver his way into the, hey, you know, there are other teams in the ACC besides Miami, Clemson, North Carolina. We're trying to build something up here in Raleigh. That's the mentality that he has up there. They've got some great linebackers. And I don't know if Mississippi State is really behind the Pirate down there. So the lines went from a pick 'em to NC State's a 1-point favorite. I like NC State. I really do. I think NC State will win that game. So there you go with that. Let's see here. There's some other lines over here. Here we go. What do we got? Oh, the Missouri-Kentucky game. Well, I tell you what, man, if you can find some Kentucky football fans, they'll tell you, hey, we found a quarterback. Did you hear we found? They're whispering it. Some of them are, because they watched Will Levis throw some passes last weekend against the Louisiana Monroe team that is really bad. But we found a quarterback. Wow. Are we buying that with Kentucky? We'll find out this weekend with Mizzou. Mizzou is a team that blitzes a lot. And will he be able to pick up the blitz and make the throws that he needs to make? Because he's going to have a lot of people in his face. That's what Mizzou's doing this year on defense. They're going to blitz a lot. Which, by the way, when South Carolina plays them, a veteran like Zeb Nolan will pick them apart. The more and more you look at it, if they blitz as much as especially with what they did against Central Michigan, if they try to do that against South Carolina with a veteran quarterback back there, that's going to be the Gamecocks. If their receivers can come through, that might be one of those swing games for South Carolina. Get through tomorrow first, though. Mizzou is a 5-point underdog on the road. I think I'm going to roll with Kentucky. Mizzou, I watched the majority of their Central Michigan game. Didn't really set me on fire. Give me Kentucky there. Let's see here. Vanderbilt and Colorado State. I don't want to insult your intelligence there either. Why are they playing at Colorado State? That doesn't make any sense. And let's see here. What else do we got? I can't. There was one other game. Oh, Utah and BYU. BYU is a 7-point underdog at home. I'm going to go with BYU. I think they may win that game. So give me BYU, especially if they're at home. Caden says that Georgia will be playing for the fourth string against South Carolina, so they might get a few more yards than Clemson does. Okay. I think that you need to slow down with all that. Just saying. Take it a game at a time, my friend. 803-978-1832. Daniel says Rob's taking UAB against the spread. No. I don't know. I wouldn't pick on that game because I don't really know how great the Georgia starter is going to be. My picks for the weekend, though, are I like Illinois, Army, Oregon. And I like Pittsburgh, South Carolina, Air Force, Miami, NC State. And I like Kentucky and BYU. So there you go. All right. We have enough time here if you want to get in quickly. 803-978-1832. The people's locks this week are South Carolina and Pitt. It's one of those things where the Pitt game almost seems like LSU going across the country, but it feels that way for Tennessee because nobody's really given Tennessee a chance in hell. Tennessee comes in and mops the floor with Pitt. Man, the Vol folks will be losing their mind. Absolutely losing their mind. All right, don't forget, Lawton Swan of Clemson Sports Talk is next. He is the czar of Clemson Sports. I will be tweeting out all weekend. You can follow me on Twitter at Rob Sounds Good. Make sure you follow Lawton today.
Stop looking at me, Swan.
I'll take you home from 4 to 6. You can find him on the iHeartRadio app and listen wherever you want at 803-978-1832. Uncle Lou joins us online. Uncle Lou is a very angry man that has battles with the bottle, but he says pick the opposite of whatever this guy says because he thinks Kirby Smart isn't a top 25 coach. I stand by that. Wouldn't want him walking my dog. I like to win. He wins, but he doesn't get over the hump, even though he has the best facilities and the best talent. You like an underachiever, sir, and that's on you. Congratulations on winning your Super Bowl last weekend over Clemson, though. We know that's big for you. Make sure you get those shirts printed. You guys aren't used to winning. All right, we'll be back at it on Monday on The Rundown. This is Fox Sports Radio 1400. You guys have a great weekend, all right? I'll be tweeting out. We'll talk to you guys later on.